little video about my pregnancy. Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this video, it's probably because you saw the title, which means yes, I am confirming that I am pregnant. And pregnancy has been such a beautiful journey. It's also been a lot. So this will be kind of a quick vlog covering my pregnancy journey till now. And you know, when I say quick, who knows what that means, you know, but I'm gonna try. If you haven't watched my videos before, I will give you a little introduction to myself. My name is Nicole, and I am a wellness coach, Reiki healer, and a human design reader. And you can see more videos on wellness, spirituality, and human design by subscribing to my channel. Also, I'm doing all these things while I found out I am pregnant and in a pandemic. So with that being said, first finding out I was pregnant, I was in shock. I knew I had symptoms. I felt like my dog already could tell. Like the 2 days before I found out I was pregnant, I noticed he was just way more cuddly, just wanting to be on me all the time, a little protective of me. So like if we saw my neighbors, he might like try to like make sure he's in front of me, or you know, bark at them to let me know that they're there. So then I was like, okay, he's more protective than usual. I was seeing signs in my body. My period was not there yet, but it also fluctuates. I'm not the best at keeping track because I do have a pretty light cycle. So with that being said, noticing physical changes like my boobs getting bigger, I noticed that I just felt a little more fatigue. I naturally am someone who's not the highest energy, so that I was not too caught off by, but the fact that my boobs were just getting fuller and I also wasn't getting my period, those are like two major signs, right? So I take the test and I have to tell my partner, and I'm trying to make a joke about it. I'm like, so you know that statistic about, and he's just like, stop trolling me. Like, what are you trying to say, right? So at this point, I'm just like, I'm pregnant. Like, you need to just go to the bathroom and check the test. And he does, and then we're just like looking at each other and kind of like smirking like, yo. Because like we're both of age, and not saying there is an age, but I am at an age where I feel like if I found out I was pregnant, I am comfortable with that, even though it's not something I was planning for or expected. And he's in the same situation. So when we did find out, it was interesting, but we were both happy. And I told him, I was like, so I think what we do next is we're supposed to sit down and talk about this. And we did. So we sat down and talked, and it was a pretty short conversation. We were both kind of like, okay, so this wasn't the next step we thought we were going to take, but this is also a next step that we are looking forward to taking together, and something that we both felt that we wanted to do. Like I said, we're old enough to feel like we are mature enough to handle an extra responsibility, even if it's not something that we necessarily prepared for. So then, after finding out, of course, you're thinking, what do you do next? So I found out pretty early at 3 weeks. So my next thoughts were like, I definitely need to tell someone, because I'm not good at secrets, and this is such a big thing, especially for me, who has been someone who's like, I've always saw myself having kids. I always saw myself being married one day, and I just never like knew when it was going to happen, but I saw it happening. So now that it was here, it was just like, oh crap. So like, this is the moment you saw and this is not how you saw it. So that's good too, because I feel like pregnancy will teach you to let go of expectations for yourself. So after all of that, now let's say so I was thinking about who to tell. So who I told when I was pregnant, I told a friend who had just had a baby, because I was just like, oh my gosh, you just went through this process. I'm about to go through this process. And I felt like she was, one, we were talking a lot at that time. And two, I also felt like she would just be someone who understood because she just went through it. Then I told my other friend who's a nurse, because I was like, of course I have to tell Tiffany, because why would I not tell her, given the fact that she's so knowledgeable, and also she's just like my ace boom coon. So I had to tell her. And of course she was helpful because she knew a lot of tips about pregnancy just from being a nurse, even though she's not necessarily, and probably also being around children as well. She just had a lot of advice. And then I told my parents, and my partner told his parents. So once we did that, we then made sure to tell immediate family, and that's only because we wanted to let people know so that we can be helped and we can feel supported, because we just felt like it was all new territory. Next, morning symptoms, or what is it? Morning sickness, or should I say all day sickness, because that is what it truly is. So my symptoms at the beginning of pregnancy were, I wouldn't say severe, but they weren't great. So I don't do well with nausea. I love food, and I naturally have a sensitive stomach. So I just felt like those symptoms got more intense, and my body was just more finicky. Also, I had like that flush of hormones in the first trimester, and that period of adjustment could just make you feel, I don't want to say crazy, but it makes you just feel like you are not in your head, like you are not who you usually are. And then at the same time, when you find out you're pregnant, you know that your body's going to physically change as well. So I'm going through all these things at the same time. And of course, I did have morning sickness, and I still kind of do. And I'm in the second trimester now. I'm 17 weeks, which is why, and 17 is my angel number. So I was like, I really want to make sure if I finally start making videos about this, I'll do this now. But when hormones flush through you, you just are a different person, and you're also like physically changing as well. So the physical changes took more weeks to show up, but it definitely was felt pretty quickly. I started to feel my pelvic area shift, and I also started to notice aches in my body. Like my legs would ache a little bit, just kind of like a I don't want to say, I guess soreness, like a sore ache in my body. And then my shoulders, just because I don't have the greatest posture, and as my body's shifting through pregnancy, it's something I have to be even more mindful of. So, and that's another thing that I had to take in consideration. To wrap up morning sickness, I'm just going to say that morning sickness affected my foods. So at one point I did crave pickles. That is something that they say pregnant women do, that you crave pickles. I noticed that I wanted more foods that I wanted as a child. So Jamaican food, my family's Jamaican, so I wanted Caribbean food a lot, and still do. It's chilled out now. My cravings are a little more I should say balanced, and that's probably because now I'm more in tune with my body. My hormones have leveled out, so I'm trying to be mindful of what I eat, because even though I might crave something, I also can realize, oh, I don't know if I love that right now, how my body feels, or if the baby loves how my body feels right now. I'm 17 weeks now, so I'm starting to develop a relationship with my womb and my baby, so I'm kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't, and that keeps changing because my body's going to keep changing. A next thing, and this is part of like the symptoms, I guess, is emotional. I would definitely say my anxiety has kicked up a lot. And it's not necessarily because of my environment. I create a really calm home environment. I'm also pretty to myself during the pandemic, and because of that, I don't really have much things to excite me or to rile me up in that way or cause me to be anxious. But I noticed I just naturally was more anxious, and I feel a huge part of that was because of my hormones. And as someone who has recently self-diagnosed as ADHD and realizing that I have a neurodivergent brain, I also feel that that has probably been part of the reason why I'm noticing my symptoms even stronger in that aspect of just like emotional and hormonal. I feel like If anything, my ADHD is intensified, my forgetfulness is stronger. But the beautiful thing about this is we have YouTube University, and I've watched so much videos. I'll actually link, if you are someone who's neurodivergent as well, I will link a video for how to ADHD, and that is a channel that talks about ADHD. She is super, super sweet. I love her because she looks like Kimmy Schmidt. And I think it's a great resource for someone whose brain operates differently. So I will link How to ADHD, and How to ADHD is a YouTube channel that focuses on helping ADHD brains understand themselves better, and also it acts as a great resource of like ways that we can declutter, lifestyle changes that we can make, simple habits that we can change to create a better environment for ourselves. And one includes planning. So what I've been doing is writing a lot more things down. I've been taking time to really think things through before doing them, because I notice if I just go off my initial thoughts, sometimes I'll create more mess when I'm doing organizational things, or I'll just find myself starting a task and forgetting because of two things: pregnancy and being neurodivergent. So that has been something that I've been pushing through and working through, and I feel like a big help has really been watching videos, because it's been really hard to get a diagnosis right now. And amongst being pregnant and other things I'm handling, it was overwhelming to go to appointments and they don't actually have someone there to do a referral or just give me a diagnosis. So I decided to honor the fact that this is what I have and I have all the symptoms of it, and then teach myself how to cope with it. And I feel like that's been really helpful. That is another thing. Having Invisalign and being pregnant is so not fun. So if you get Invisalign, just like try to get through your treatment before you find out you're pregnant. I don't know. That's all I could say, really, because you don't know when things are going to happen. But what I will say is that your jaw and your teeth changing, and then also having to regularly eat things. You need to eat all different types of foods, proteins and fats and all these things. You do want to make sure that you're not having any other situation, whether it's Invisalign or something, that's gonna mitigate you being able to comfortably eat, especially when it's already hard to. So the next thing about pregnancy that I wanted to cover in this video, and this is just off the top of my head, so I'm sure I'll probably make another video covering things I didn't cover, but I just was really inspired to record today since I'm at the end of my 17th week, and wanted to make sure that now that I'm feeling better and in my second trimester, I'm catching some of my experience and memories of this time. Because huge pregnancy tip, I hear so many moms tell me they wished they took more pictures while they were pregnant, documented more, because it's such a unique time and you don't get to be like this again. And I struggled with that. I actually had a lot of anxiety because I was so focused on wanting to create and make sure I captured memories that I was getting overwhelmed, knowing that I'm actually still dealing with morning sickness, all day sickness, mood, life stuff happening. Again, we're still in a pandemic, so figuring things out. I'm supposed to be in a friend's wedding and found out I was pregnant. So all these things are happening, but know that it's still a very special time. It is one of the most special times, and allow yourself grace to rest, because the reality is your body, as I speak, I'm incubating a baby. Like, this thing is growing inside of me. And that is kind of cool. So even though it's tiring and some days you really don't feel like communicating or doing things, it's so life-changing. So now I'll cover lessons I've learned from pregnancy. And again, I know this video is probably not covering everything, but I really wanted it to be a vlog experience and me just kind of talk off my head, because I'll make more of these and you'll see more and you'll know more. And yeah, so Lessons. First lesson, be present, because again, it's such a short period of time. You want to enjoy it. It goes by so fast. 17 weeks is 4 months in 1 week. So the fact that I'm this far already and I'm just starting to really feel better and more comfortable with like recording more and getting dressed up and feeling like, okay, I kind of have an idea how to dress myself again, because that's another change you'll go through. Be present. That's it. Another thing is have boundaries, because when you become pregnant, you're probably doing this with a partner. And even if you aren't doing with a partner, there's people in your life who are going to love you, friends and family who are going to be excited for you. And even though that excitement might be well-meaning, they'll come with their opinions, ideas, beliefs about what you should do, how you should do it, and why. And the reality is, this is your child, but also your child is going to be its own person. And in order to be a great parent, to teach that autonomy, you have to learn that within your own life. So learning that people can have good intentions, but that doesn't mean you have to always take their advice, especially if it's not true to who you are and it's not authentic to you. So focus on what makes sense for you, what are you capable of, and allow yourself to rest when needed. Another pregnancy tip is give yourself grace. And this is literally going back to the idea of rest. Give yourself grace, because again, you're growing a body inside of you. You might not have all the energy you used to have. Actually, there's a high chance you won't. So be prepared for that, and know that this long task list of things you might want to do, especially if you're someone who's anxious or someone who's just very regimented and wants to be successful, you will find yourself being frustrated because you can't do things some days. Like you might want to, your body's like, no. Or if you're not on task with eating regularly, you'll immediately start feeling symptoms. So that leads into my next lesson tip is listen to your body, because I feel like being pregnant has been such a blessing to me, because it's taught me balance and it's made me listen to my body a lot more. Because I'm way more present, I do notice the moment when I need to eat now. And I do notice when I'm not in an environment I really want to be in, because I'm not just thinking about myself. And I think that's an empath thing. But being pregnant for me, as someone who's highly sensitive, I noticed it's helped me actually prioritize myself more, because I'm thinking of someone else. So I say that was a great lesson, and it's also a beautiful gift, because now I have like a reason to kind of focus more on me. And I'm hoping even after the baby comes, it's still a reminder that I have to take care of me first in order to take care of my child the best way I can. And another lesson during pregnancy and tip is that when you are partnered with someone and you are having a child with them, then you really have to, thinking of how I should say it, because I always want to be mindful of what I say and how I say it. You have to synergize with them. Like you already became one. Like this person, and this is actually a really funny tip lesson, because a friend of mine told me this, that the person you have a child with is longer is longer than a marriage. And that is true, because most times children do, the lifespan of your child will outlive a marriage. So really be mindful of that whoever you are partnering with, to be mindful of who you pick, but also knowing that when you make the decision of being with them, they become a co-parent. They become someone that you will have to build into your life or grow with them, whether it is someone that you're romantically involved with and you love and you're looking forward to that, or whether it's someone that, hey, we've had a baby, but now we have to figure out how to get along. I think that is super, super crucial when you're pregnant. But also, if you're doing the best you can as a partner and a birthing person, then it shouldn't matter. Okay, more thoughts. So I don't have any more tips. If I do, they'll come as I finish up this video. But one thought that I will say is pregnancy is a beautiful journey, and I feel like it's teaching me to grow in ways that I probably would have still been struggling with. And the fact that I'm in the middle of my Saturn return, I think it's really ironic that I got pregnant. But not ironic, but it's just like, okay, that's not a surprise, you know? But I will say that it's a beautiful journey. It's important to take care of yourself and also know that you're creating a life. So, like, if that's all you do in 9 months, like, you're still doing a pretty great thing. Also, actually, I do have another tip. I naturally do this, but I think that this is really good, especially if you are having a child. Listening to binaural beats, having sound therapy like 432 hertz heal DNA music on, or music for emotional well-being. I think that's all really great because everything that you hear, speak, say, do, your baby is also receiving as well. So today my partner's like, babe, can you put some John Coltrane on for the baby? So we were listening to that earlier. And classical music really is great for babies in terms of cognitive development and intelligence. So I want a smart child, and I think I'm a smart person. So I do make that a big part of what I do for the child. I don't know why I said it like that. I do make it a big part of my routine, is making sure that I'm listening to positive music. I have positive affirmations. Sometimes I go to sleep with reprogramming the subconscious mind music, especially if I've had a bad day and I'm trying to basically clear that energy. I also do Reiki healings on myself and things like that. It's really important to connect with my child while it's in my womb, because I know that it's taking in all of that information and it's going to come out already knowing things. Like, my dog sleeps on my tummy all the time, and I know that that's my baby probably already has a connection, and I know my dog already knows something's growing in there. So that's really exciting to see too. And again, I'm a first-time mom, so this is a new experience for me to be fully going through pregnancy, and I just want to honor every moment of it and also grow. I really looked at being pregnant as a period of self-improvement and self-development because, again, it was something I always saw myself at one point doing in my life. So because of that, I was just like, if I can be my best self, or, just work towards being my best self during this journey of before having my child, then how much better will I be for my baby? And that's kind of why I'm here on this continuing on this self-improvement journey. Life is already going to get complicated, right? When you find out you have a child. And having a child in this day and age is not cheap for the cheap. It's not for the weak at heart. And I wanted just to make sure I'm prepared as possible. And I also have some books that were recommended to me, and I'll list them down below. One is called Food for Pregnancy, and this is really great for moms who really need to know, how much do I need to eat? And this book is written by a doctor who's a nutritionist, so she's legit. And she literally deals with prenatal nutrition. So I feel like she's what I love is that she focuses on eating whole foods and also eating plants, but she's very balanced, and she's not telling you exactly what to have. She's giving you options. Another book, What to Expect When You're Not Expecting. I was given that book to me by a friend, and I highly recommend it. It's like a classic pregnancy journey to motherhood book, and I think that it's just great for anyone who's having a baby to know what to expect. Another resource is the Bump app, and I love it so much because it literally tells me what I'm going to feel right when I'm feeling it. And sometimes that's great, sometimes that's aggy, But to literally be like, okay, today my boobs are itching, and open the app and it's like, what to expect at 17 weeks, your boobs might itch. And I'm like, oh, okay. It adds a sense of relief during all these physical changes you're going through. So again, I am neurodivergent, working on streamlining my thought process. And if you're ADHD too, then you might actually really love watching these videos. But if not, feel free to skip ahead to whatever part you want. No, but seriously, these videos might be a little all over the place, and I hope that I gave you tons of tips. That is really why I create them, so that you can be knowledgeable about life through my lived experience. And I'm just excited to share more about this pregnancy and journey with you guys. So I love you. If you like this video and want to see more wellness, spirituality, motherhood related things, feel free to keep watching my channel and to subscribe. See you guys till next time. I don't know why I did this, but whatever. Till the next video, love y'all and stay in touch.